Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Yellow Card Podcast. With me, as always, Chris Jones. If you are listening in, we have a pleasant surprise for you. We have added an additional chair to our Yellow Card Podcast, and that is a big breaking news for us. An additional third chair. His name is Andrew Fasciano. He joins us from the Couch Guy Sports Network as well. Andrew, please say hello. If you're watching, that is a new familiar face you should get acquainted with. The guy is really knowledgeable when it comes to soccer, and we are extremely pumped to have him. So, Andrew, please introduce yourself. Let us know what you're about.
Hello guys. I'm really pumped to be here. My name is Andrew. I'm an Everton fan. Also, I'm a fan of the Revs in the MLS, and I follow both national teams, men's and women's, as well. I'd say my main area of soccer interests is primarily the Premier League. So I've been watching that for a couple of years now, but I also sort of follow the Champions League and other European domestic leagues a little bit too. And you can find me on Twitter at AFASC573. And I'm writing for Couch Guy on Saturdays and Tuesdays, so keep an eye out on those days for articles from me.
Sounds great, man. Thank you so much for jumping on with us and for signing on with us as well. We want to give a special shout out to our friends from across the pond, as we say here in America. Our boys from the FT LOL podcast jumped in with us on episode 11. If you haven't checked it out, I highly suggest you catch up to speed with us because that was a big episode and we're just about to get even bigger from here on.
So, link's going to be in every single description for them as well.
Absolutely. Those guys were phenomenal. They gave us some serious inside depth of things for the Premier League that even Chris and I weren't even thinking of. So for real, just please give it a listen, subscribe, give us a like, give us a follow on Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. So to begin with today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Champions League, the Premier League, and the MLS because there is some serious movement happening on the MLS. The Revolution are on the playoffs. So, Andrew, I know you're a big MLS guy. You're probably an even bigger MLS guy than I am. Talk to us about where you see the Revolution ending in this year's MLS, model going on, and tell us what's your prediction of what could be the final for this year's season for the MLS.
Yeah, so the Revs beat Montreal on Friday night. It was a close game, but if you saw the highlights, Gustavo Bo got the late winner, 95th minute winner to advance the Revs into the first round. So they have a matchup against Philadelphia, which is unfortunately not the best news. They've played Philadelphia 5 times already this season, and they've lost 4 of them. They haven't beat them. So in theory, at least, they should have a decent amount of film and experience to craft a game plan. But I think you'd have to say, as much as I want the Revs to win, Philadelphia should be the favorites in that game. The one thing that I think might give the Revs a fighting chance is that they're finally actually getting healthy at the right time. So on Friday night, it was, I think, only the 3rd or 4th time all season that Gustavo Bo, Carlos Gil, and Adam Buxo are all in the starting lineup. So in order for them to be at their best, they need those 3 big guys on attack. And now that they finally have that, I think it should be a great matchup. I could see it going either way. I think Philadelphia deserves to be the favorite, but I wouldn't write that off as a loss, even though the Revs have struggled with Philadelphia this year.
That's awesome. Chris, any additional thoughts on the MLS?
I mean, if we're going to go into it, just looking at it, I don't know how you don't look at, if you're looking at favorites, not even just in that matchup, if you're looking at favorites overall, you got to look out in the Western Conference. You got to say right off the bat that Portland and Seattle are the 2 top in that conference. In the East, it kind of seems like it can go either way depending on how you feel about it. But to me personally, just looking at it, I would say that in the Eastern Conference at least, that, like Andrew said, Philadelphia is a solid team. They've played solid the entire year. I would also give a shout to Toronto. Toronto's played a fantastic season for them too. They have all their guys that are healthy and clean, and they're ready to go against Nashville on Tuesday. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this plays out, especially with the new format this year based off of the COVID and the Eastern Conference playing round that they did. So I am curious to see how this plays out. And in all honesty, it should be fun. I'm excited for it.
That's perfect. Yeah, no, I mean, I watched a little bit yesterday of the Orlando versus New York City team. It was a close matchup, a lot closer than what I had especially expected it. But it came to PK kickoffs, and my God, it was like watching a middle school team finally just kind of getting their wheel bearings on. It was god awful. I've never seen people take penalty kicks like this at all. But then I look over to like the Columbus and the Red Bulls, and like you said, Toronto and Nashville. I don't know, man. Toronto looks real good. I was excited about Nashville, but with Toronto looking like that, it's a good matchup to come up should Columbus and Toronto face off. I also see, like you were saying, like the Portland team looks real damn good. They've looked good for the past 5 years or so now.
Yeah.
So I'm excited overall for them. I'm excited for the Revs. New England are suckers for underdog stories. I mean, if you think about the Boston Red Sox, we were down like 3 games in one series against the Yankees, and all of a sudden, at the House of Terror, we just came in and dominated. The Celtics as well in 2008, we were underdogs for a little bit against the Lakers, and all of a sudden, gave them a smacking. The Bruins, 2011, another perfect story. So I don't know. I mean, I like Philadelphia. I agree with you, Andrew, and I agree with you, Chris, as well. But it's Gustavo Bo. I like Gustavo Bo as of late. And fun fact, actually, before COVID and all that stuff, when I was DJing at La Fabrica here in Boston, the dude is a party goer there. So if you ever try to catch him live and party hard, the dude is like the Rob Gronkowski, but of the Revolution. He just parties that hard.
So real quick, who do we think is going to face off in the MLS Cup final?
That's a good question, man. I mean, I'm overjoyed about the Revolution, so maybe I'm taking a little bit of a high road here. But I'm saying for the Eastern Conference Finals, it'll probably be Revolution versus Toronto. And I'm saying for the Western Conference Final, it should be Seattle Sounders and probably San Jose. Those are my guesses. But we also, by the way, people,
Diego likes the good upsets. That's what he's about.
I absolutely love upsets. I'm a sucker for them.
I think we should let the MLS expert give us his opinion first before we move on.
The other thing, kind of to your point, Diego, the thing about Philadelphia is they're completely unproven. I mean, this season is the first season that they've ever won the Supporters' Shield and the first season that they've ever been the top team in the Eastern Conference. If you look at a team like Toronto, they've had far more playoff success in the last few years, and they're more of a kind of a veteran team with guys who have been there before. So I think I would agree that I sort of like Toronto to come out of the East. The West is interesting to me. I think the matchup today between Sporting Kansas City and San Jose is an interesting one. Sporting Kansas City had a really good regular season, but I don't know. I don't know if, like, you look at San Jose, they have a guy like Chris Wondolowski. He's the all-time MLS leading goal scorer for a good reason. And when it comes to big games, you need players who can score goals. So I kind of think that the West is more open in some ways than the East.
I would agree with that statement. I would say there would be only two teams that I think could realistically come out of the East, and it's 100% Toronto, and then I'd say Orlando City even, because they've, from last year to this year, it's been one of the better changes in the MLS, which has been fantastic to see, because you love to see a guy like Nani and company down there getting the recognition they deserve. And out west, I think whoever wins the Portland Timbers and Seattle Sounders match, it's going to represent the West. Like you said, I do think it's more open, but just because they have to face each other in the semifinals and not the finals, I think it's going to make it a little bit more difficult. So one of them I feel like is going to see – Sporting Kansas City's been good, but I feel like Minnesota United has a realistic chance of coming out of that side of the semifinal over whoever it is between Sporting Kansas City and San Jose. So I think whoever plays Minnesota United in the conference final is going to go to the MLS Cup final. And I do think that whoever comes out of the West is going to win this year, unfortunately. Toronto has been good, don't get me wrong, but I just don't see either Seattle or Portland losing to any of the Eastern Conference teams.
All right, so clearly we're excited about the MLS. It's a good year for them too. A lot of great talent developing too on the MLS.
Catch my social. I'll be making sure I bet every ML playoff game the rest of the way.
Oh yes, please. The Chasers 617 on Twitter.
Nope. My personal one. Nope. It's my personal one. One. I always put my soccer plays on my personal one.
Oh.
So they go out on my personal one, and then it gets retweeted on the Chasers page. So
Chris just writes with his own brand.
1212. Thank you.
Chris just writes with his own brand, just so you know.
I ride with the brand.
Oh, okay. Well, excuse me, sir. Excuse me.
All right, let's transition our way into the English Premier League, shall we?
Yes, let's transition that. So, we might or might not have a special surprise in store for you guys while you're listening or watching. But in the meantime, we're gonna start it off with the Premier League. So
between the special surprise, do you want to wait to do the Premier League and do Champions League first and have us give our predictions and then fade and end with the Premier League?
You know, you would think that as a DJ I would have better transitions, but that's okay. I've been a little.
That's why I'm here, dude. The transition. I'm good at the transition. That's what I'm doing. And plus, dude, COVID. You haven't DJed in a while. I'll cut you some slack.
Good.
Let's talk match day 4 group stage first. We're just gonna go in order.
Yep. So the Premier League has been offline for a little bit, but we're back on.
That's the Champions League. Yep. The international break is over.
We're back on. If you have been listening to our podcast, you have realized how close Chris and I have come. Now we have an additional third chair, so this should be exciting as all hell when it comes to predictions and whatnot. So, Andrew, Chris, start us off. Let's go.
All right, so we're gonna start off because I'm just gonna read the list based off how it looks on my screen, and we're gonna give quick score predictions real quick. I'm gonna do Rennes and Chelsea. First game on Tuesday.
I like Chelsea in that one. I think they are looking really, really dangerous right now. I like Chelsea 3-0 in that match.
I'm pretty sure the last time they did play it was 3-0 as well.
There you go.
Which was the last match day, so smart on him. I'm also going to take Chelsea, and I'm going to say 4-0. Think they won up it. Diego.
I'm gonna go with a 3-1 on Chelsea.
Oh, will you stop giving these teams credit when it comes to goals? Just pick the shutouts. Giving everybody too much credit. I don't like it.
All right. You know, it is Rennes. They do come with surprises every now and then. So.
All right, let's do Krasnodar and Sevilla. Start with Andrew.
Oh boy.
The return fixture in Spain was a close one, if I remember correctly. I think Krasnodar might steal a draw in this one, so I'm going to go 2-2.
I like it. I'm going to take Sevilla 2-1 instead of 3-2 this time. Diego?
Sevilla 3-0.
That's right. You're high on them, dude. I forgot.
No, I just picture a different game. I know they were relatively close in the first one, but I picture a different game on this one.
Oh, my next one's my favorite. And Man United versus Istanbul Başakşehir.
Nice. Wow.
Gave me a second to repronounce it, but I got it.
Man United have done pretty well in the Champions League this year, despite sort of struggling in the Premier League. I think they'll win that one 2-1.
Well, don't forget they also lost last time 2-1, so they're going to come in with some vengeance. I think.
Oh, boys, we have a surprise.
Oh,
Are we ready?
Surprise.
Are we ready?
Surprise on it. Yep.
Are we ready? We have a surprise.
Oh,
if you are watching, you might have seen that there is a big fourth screen coming across with a beautiful smile. Our Couch Guys Sports Vice President, Jared Scally, has joined the chat. Jared, welcome aboard to Yellow Card Podcast. We're so excited to have you, dude.
What's up, guys?
You came
this is perfect timing.
on the perfect timing, too.
This is perfect timing because we're talking Champions League and we're talking Manchester United right off the bat.
Oh look! Time for me to shine.
and just so you guys know, Zoom unfortunately is ticking me off, and they're telling me that I have about 7 minutes. No big deal. We can mash the two videos together if need be. But Jared, talk to us real quick about the Champions League matchup for Manchester United against Istanbul Başakşehir.
I'm intrigued by it. The thing that scares me is like with Manchester United, the consistency is what fears me with this matchup. Just because like they won yesterday in the Premier League, but it was only 1-0, right, against a team that you should not have only beat by 1 goal. So when that matchup hits, I don't know. I'm intrigued by it. I think it's going to be something that I'm scared. Honestly, guys, like Diego, you know this. I'm a big Man U guy. I cringe every time I watch now because I'm not sure which team you're gonna get. Like this team is a Champions League talent team. They belong there. But every time I turn on the TV, I go, okay, am I gonna get the bottom of the Premier League team that they can barely win at home, or am I gonna get the team that's a top 4 last year that should be there again this year?
I agree. No, I absolutely agree. So for my Istanbul Manchester United prediction, I'm gonna go with a 2-0 for Manchester United, but this is only if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer finally puts his big boy pants on
good luck
and decides to put on Donny van de Beek in the starting lineup with Bruno Fernandes and Juan Mata, and also starts Edison Cavani, because what we saw yesterday was Donny van de Beek and Edison Cavani coming in late in the game and actually showing us what a Manchester United can actually look like versus the Manchester United that was on for 65, 70 minutes. That was a high school throw up all over our faces.
That's funny because you mentioned Van de Beek. Like he's been my go-to. Like, oh come on, why is he not starting? Like he's literally one of their best players, and they look the best. Like all those like great moments that I enjoy watching them play, it's when he's on the field.
Yep.
And it blows my mind that he still hasn't started. Or hasn't started enough. Like he should be on the field with Bruno Fernandes literally every game, and that's it. Like that shouldn't even be a question. Just chalk it in. That's it.
Here comes Chris.
Agreed.
What's up, Chris?
No, 100% agreed. But the last time you guys played Istanbul in the Champions League, Donny van de Beek did start at center defensive mid, and you guys lost 2-1. That's all I'm going to say right off the bat right there. But I think this is going to be a big revenge game for Man United. When they lost this game, they circled this game on the calendar. They're ready to go. I think they're going to win 3-0.
We also have Paul Pogba on the field, a guy that is most lost in a freaking high school puppy.
He was on the bench to start. He came in after, and then that's when they scored. So I don't want to hear the Paul Pogba excuse from you in that game. All right?
I'm done with Paul Pogba.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, are you a Pogba guy? I can't tell.
No,
I'm not anymore. At first I was really excited about the guy joining Manchester United, but his behavior in the locker room and overall with the club has been the same exact thing as like Kyrie Irving for the Boston Celtics. Yeah. It's literally the same exact replica. It's this guy who thinks he's above and beyond everybody else. Everybody should be bowing down to him, and that if he's on the field, the ball should only go through him. And that's unacceptable, especially when you got a Bruno Fernandes, who's a younger guy playing 10 times better than you, and being an actual leader, which is what you were requested to be 2 years ago before Bruno Fernandes came in.
Mhm.
So
And I agree. I was excited when he came on. Like when Bruno Fernandes, especially like when he came on, I was like, great, Pogba has someone to play with. Like that, the intrigue there was amazing because like I think Pogba's excuse all these years was I have no one to play with.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Right.
We gave you Bruno Fernandes. Figure it out, and he still hasn't. And like I wish it worked out. I wish it would work out with him because he is a talent. Like it is a perfect Kyrie example. Like it's a top talent that you want to have on your team and you're stuck to have him, but like he's not a chalk. I want him in the lineup every day. Like
Yeah.
Van de Beek is. Like I don't even know if I want him in there at all because of what he does.
I also
Right,
just
right.
think at this point that he really doesn't want to be there. Like he
Didn't
had
he come
that-
out and say somewhere that he wanted to play somewhere else?
Right, exactly.
So-
when he was with France, he came out and
Yep.
said, like, this is a breath of fresh air to get away from
Mhm.
where
Yeah.
I was before, which is like,
Bench
that's
his
not
ass.
what you
Done.
want to
I'm
hear.
out.
But
Yeah.
but
Like, sit him forever.
do you think it's because of the what Ole Gunnar is bringing, or do you think it's because he's just ready to move on from Manchester United as a whole?
I think he had more success when he was with Juventus, and I think he kind of transitioned to the Premier League and maybe didn't anticipate all the media scrutiny that comes with that. Like, whether or not you like him, you have to admit that he's been the target of a lot of criticism over the past couple of years, and I can't really blame him for having that get to him, so I think that's definitely a factor.
He's definitely been their big fall guy.
He's a prima donna, is what he is. Like,
A
and
little
he's
bit of
he's-
both, yeah.
He's the easy target. Like, he really
Yeah.
is. Because if you say one, I mean, it is the true. Like, the Premier League has one of the bigger media scrutinies in Europe and just over there in
Mhm.
general. So you put a guy like that on a club like this, and it's like, all right, now you got to go, okay, you got to be perfect or someone's going to scrutinize you. And Diego, I go back to your Kyrie Irving example. Like, you put him in Boston, and it's a crapshoot. So
Yep.
I agree. I think it might not be the best fit moving forward. I think Ole just has to stop playing him. And if it's on bad terms and he leaves, that's fine because the consistency is what this team needs. And they have lineups that they can put out there and they have put out there that play really well and hold up to that standard. So I'm not all about firing our manager yet. It's just a matter of like, he's got to be consistent and put the foot down and be like, all right, I piss off Pogba. Who cares? Like, he doesn't want to be here anyway.
Yep.
All right, let's move in some. Let's finish the Champions League talk, and we'll get into the Premier League. Let's do Dynamo Kiev and Barcelona. Andrew, what are your thoughts on that?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Barcelona are in crisis right now. Leo Messi, another player who probably doesn't want to be where he is. I think Barcelona on paper should win that match, but I could see Dynamo Kiev taking a draw, maybe 1-1.
So last time they played, it was the 2-1, and it was a very close game. So you taking the draw with that one?
Yeah, I'm going draw.
Okay. I think Barcelona wins that one. I say 3-0 because they're going to be a little aggravated because of how they played against Atletico Madrid yesterday. So I think that's going to carry over. So I'll take Barcelona 3-0 now.
I'm going with a 3 to. Actually,
I was waiting for you to say 3-2, and I was about to say stop giving everybody so much credit when it comes to scoring.
I might actually ride with a tie here because of the struggles that they've been facing, and Dynamo Kiev being one of those annoying teams that everybody hates to play, but
Yep.
it gives everybody a hard time. I'm going with a 1-1 tie.
I was about
on
to
this
say,
one.
knowing you, it's a 1-1 draw.
It's like a cop-out
Yeah.
answer, isn't it? Isn't a 1-1 draw just a cop-out? Like, I don't know what to do,
Yep.
so I'm just going to say they both score a goal.
100%.
Um,
100%.
I
Thanks,
like
Jared.
I got you, Diego. I like Barcelona 3-1.